Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We're glad you all could join us once again, as well as our online audience joining us around the world. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. As you all know, I'm always excited to be able to share books that I think people of all ages will be able to appreciate, and our next guest has brought us one that I think you all will really enjoy. We're excited to welcome National Geographic's executive editor, Becky Baines, to our program. We're going to talk to her about the work that she's been able to do with National Geographic, but also the newest book for National Geographic Kids called Bet You Didn't Know, Fascinating Far-Out Fantastic Facts. And this book has a lot of great information that I think people around this country and around the world will appreciate. If you're just not hearing about the book, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can get your own copy of it. But Becky, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, glad to do it. Becky, I know this book is intended for a younger audience, but I have to tell you, as a 42-year-old, I really enjoyed going through this book because I got a lot of wrinkles on my brain, I think, of things that I didn't know. So I want to ask you this. What has it been like for you already to see the response to this book from people of all ages?
So, every time we put out a fact book like this, I have the same response to it where I just feel like I've learned so much. And, at this point, I am kind of brimming with facts that I don't even know I know until, I just repeat them to someone. But, this type of book is really great because, like you said, it appeals to kids of all ages. It appeals to adults. So it's like really just a fun kind of wholesome family, activity. It brings everyone together because everybody's just kind of in awe when they learn some of these really, really crazy facts. And we've done a number of fact books at National Geographic, and every time we can find a new way to get this information to people, I think it's really, really rewarding. And so far, this book kind of going out the door has been really well received, and that's always really nice when you work so hard on something and then people actually are responding to what you do.
Right, for sure. And Becky, I mentioned to you before we began the segment here for our radio audience that, you've been able to be a part of a lot of the great books that we've gotten to know through National Geographic, especially, of course, that are geared towards, young people. What has that experience been like for you to be naturally curious yourself and then to be able to share that curiosity with readers of books like this?
They always say, do what you love, love what you do, and I think that just rings so true for me because this is stuff that I'm passionate about. Like you said, I'm a curious person. I love learning new things about the world, and I get to do that every day where I, kind of absorb all this information and process it in a way that brings it to a whole new audience. And, just watching kids and seeing their reactions when they're exposed to this type of material is wonderful. And then, of course, the more you expose them to this type of stuff, the more they want to know, and they just kind of adopt this passion for, learning more about the world around them. And it's incredible for me. We don't always get to connect directly with our audience. Sometimes you're producing a book and then it goes out the door and you don't really think about it much from there. But, when we go into schools and we talk to kids and we see their reactions to this information, and you can kind of see that spark of something happening where, you have ignited this curiosity in them, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. We've all heard about it takes a village when it comes to children. Becky, one of the things that's brought up at the very end of this book, I think, is a great point, and I think it really shows to why National Geographic has such respect in the world, and that is one of the things it mentions is it takes a village of individuals to bring a book like this together. We're going to address a few of the things in the book that really struck me. One of the first, though, that I think people will, especially our Harry Potter fans out there, Harry Potter is back in the news this year, is that some of the characters, of course, being even named after stars, there's the stellar facts about stars. I think those little things like that, for us adults, will say, I didn't know that. Or either maybe it may be something like the light we see from the stars, knowing that it was left from the star millions of years ago, something we may have remembered, maybe, and then, and now this reminds us. Is that kind of what you hope, that people are able to kind of make connections with things they've heard and realize, where those things came from?
Yeah, the great thing in putting together something like this where, every page is kind of new and different and it covers a different topic is that not every topic out there is going to appeal to every reader. And by, approaching all these different facts from all these different angles, you are, there's something in here that's going to appeal to everyone. And they say by putting, nonfiction in kids' hands that, they're interested about, that's going to kind of make them want to learn more and more and more. But yeah, it's amazing, when you read something and you, like I said, I know things that I didn't know I know, and then kind of backtracking to figure out where that nugget of knowledge came from is always really fun. And I think that's some of the response that adults have. Whereas kids, it's the inverse where, they're just being exposed to it for the first time. So hopefully you're making this lasting impression where, if they come across information like that later on, they'll have a similar feeling. And it's great.
Yeah. Well, I think our audience will definitely appreciate being able to go through this book and kind of read some of the things that we're talking about, Becky, and we're going to tell them at the end how they can get it for themselves. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome National Geographic's executive editor, Becky Baines, to our program today, talking with her not only about what it's been like for her to do work that she loves at National Geographic, but also the newest book for National Geographic Kids, Bet You Didn't Know. Fascinating, far-out, fantastic facts. And one of those things I think will really appeal to our Mississippi audience here. Becky, I mentioned to you, we just had 4 inches of snow here, historic for us this time of year. Here in Mississippi, schools were closed. People didn't have to go to work. But we did get to know something that is addressed in the book on page 52, frosty facts about snow, and that is the term snort, which is slang for snow considered combined with dirt, and that's something that we got a chance to get here. I mean, do you think that's also part of the fun of this book, Becky, is that especially during certain times of the year, they're able to go through and find things that kind of relate to what they're seeing around them?
Yes, I know exactly the school shutdown that you guys got the other day because I am also on the East Coast, and when we get a couple inches, it's very exciting for us. But yeah, that's one of those things that I didn't know that term existed, yet every time we get snow here, I feel like it immediately turns to snort because it's never too much to really, make a lasting impact, and it gets mixed with dirt really quickly.
Right. But
yeah, like I said, there's so many topics in this book that you're going to find something that relates to you or appeals to you in somehow, or, What's great about this is kids can learn that fact about snort, and then they can go and share it at school when school reopens again.
Right. Right.
So, kids actually love feeling smart. They love feeling like they have this knowledge that they can share with people. And so I think that's always going to happen, where they're going to find things that they can relate to, and then they're going to be excited to share them with their friends. And that's always, what we hope will be the effect of our book.
Yeah. Another one I mentioned on page 155, and I'm very curious about how you all got to know this, Becky, and that is facts to bug you out. And the fact number 5 is raw termites taste like pineapple. Now, how did you guys figure this out?
Well, I'm very fortunate to say that I didn't actually eat a raw termite to find this out. We have, our experts scouring the field to find, the craziest facts they possibly can and bring them to us in this book. And I'm pretty sure that there's some bug-eating expert out there who has tried it and gave us that information. But, that's one of those things where you can learn a little bit more about how, we, in the U.S., eating insects, it sounds really crazy and it sounds really disgusting, but in the U.S., we're one of the only countries in the world who doesn't regularly eat insects. They're a great source of protein, and so something that may seem totally crazy to us is perfectly normal somewhere else. And so it's that kind of eye-opening connection with this type of information that is really fun.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of other ones that are great in this book. Even when dealing with fun facts about chocolate, people will see that there's even something about insects in there as well. So I'm sure our audience will appreciate that. So, Becky, when people finish going through it and kind of really taking in Bet You Didn't Know, what is your hope for them? I mean, when they kind of finish this book going through it, what do you hope the reaction is?
You know, I think that our hope for every book that we produce is that you do just ignite that little spark of curiosity in kids, because the more, they find out, the more they're going to want to learn, the more they'll be driven to, pick up informational books as opposed to, picking up a video game controller. And if you can instill that reading and that love of reading in them young, they'll be readers for life. And so that's what we try to do. Everything we do, we make it really colorful. It has a lot of pictures in it. We don't like to give information without showing kids what we're talking about, because kids always want to see the actual thing.
Right.
And so by giving kids access to that type of information at different reading levels, we just really hope to make them readers and to make them curious about the world and, want to grow up and do great things and protect this planet and, be a part of something good.
Yeah, well, I think you all definitely accomplished that, Becky. I love the book. Again, the book is Bet You Didn't Know, Fascinating, Far Out, Fantastic Facts. It's available through our friends at Amazon.com. You all can get it there, or through your favorite bookstore. If they don't have it at your bookstore, request it. They'll be glad to get it for you. And make sure you all are staying connected with National Geographic Kids and all the great things going on with them by going to kids.nationalgeographic.com. And there you can find a lot of other fun facts that I think you all will enjoy, no matter what your age might be. Becky, again, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate your stopping by, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, the pleasure is definitely all mine, Becky. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Becky, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media sites. So head over to Facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go to Twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.